Honorable Billy Famous Osazuwa is a Nigerian politician and businessman, currently serving as the federal representative of Oriawon Ohuomwode Federal Constituency in Edo State. He was elected to the House of Representatives in 2023 under the All Progressives Congress APC and is a first-time member of the 10th National Assembly. Honorable Osazuwa was born on October 7, 1971. He holds a PhD in international business, demonstrating his expertise in the field. Honorable Billy Famous Osazuwa had his primary education at Eyanuge Primary School, where he earned his first school leaving certificate, and his secondary education at Edo College, where he obtained his West African Examinations Council certificate. He graduated from the University of Benin with a BSc degree in microbiology and later proceeded to the United States of America, where he earned an MBA in international business from Schuyler International University, Florida, USA. He also holds a doctorate degree in business administration with a concentration in international business from Argosy University, Atlanta, Georgia, USA. Honorable Osazuwa is the Chief Executive Officer of the Famous Financial Services, showcasing his extensive experience in financial management. He also has professional experience as an insurance broker, a role he undertook while at Argosy University. In the National Assembly, Dr. Osazuwa serves as the Vice Chairman of the House Committee on Poverty Alleviation. His legislative priorities include addressing rural insecurity, enhancing educational infrastructure, promoting economic development within his constituency. He strongly advocates for regular town hall meetings to engage directly with constituents and tailor development projects to their needs. Honorable Osazuwa is renowned for his commitment to grassroots development and has been actively involved in community initiatives even before his election. He collaborates with government agencies to bring essential services to the people. Notably, he facilitated an information and communication technology training and empowerment program reflecting his dedication to improving the skills and opportunities of his constituents.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to our program, NAS Unplugged. I am Ada Oka. On the program today, we have Honorable Billy Famous Osazuwa. He serves as a member representing Ohiomwon and Ohuomwode Federal Constituency in Edo State in the 10th National Assembly. He holds the traditional title of Obazumhonwa of Benin Kingdom. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Sometime last month, during plenary, you moved a motion on the use of fake products and substandard materials, which cause serious issues, such as collapse of buildings and loss of lives and property. Please, can you throw more light on that? What are the possible way out of such menace in our society, in the country, in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. I think maybe coming from the solutions to the problems, but I will first of all want to let you know that part of the reasons why I had to move that motion was one of the ways of actually finding solutions to the problems, because if we don't do anything about things that go wrong in this country, then you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So as part of my responsibility of being a federal lawmaker, I had to come up with that motion. And you will agree with me that we've been having issues of building collapse all over the country lately, and it is not a good trend because it involves lives and property. So, and you know, a lot of properties in Nigeria are not insured, even lives. So when these things happen, there is no liability, nobody to be held responsible. So I had to actually come up with that motion to make sure that our people know about what is happening and something is being done about it, because we are the people's representatives. And the more reason I had to come back with that motion was when I did my research, I found out that the Standard Organization of Nigeria was at the verge actually penalizing or reprimanding some of these companies or dealers of some of those materials, especially the iron rods. And all of a sudden, the whole thing died down. And I felt that was not a good thing, because if they have gotten to that extent, I'm sure something must have exchanged hands, you know, for them to just all of a sudden forget about it. But what about the people? What about those that lost their lives and the ones that might potentially lose their lives, you know, after today? So I just felt it was good to come up with that, because we can't always be reacting to things after happening. At least we can also engage in preventative measures. And this is one of those things. So that in Nigeria, I just feel when businesses or companies, MDAs, when they are not doing the right thing, they should be called out. And I believe we just need some few scapegoats, you know, to get others to sit tight. So, but because we don't have those kind of things going, I just felt this is what we need to start encouraging. So you can call me a whistleblower, because I'm a legislator is part of, as a legislator, is part of my job to blow that whistle, you know, and sensitize our people what is really going on. So that's just the basic truth. So coming back, now that the motion has been moved, it has been referred to the appropriate committees. In this case, I think it was Commerce, Trade and Commerce. And the investigation is going to start as soon as we resume. You know, the membership has been put together. It's going to be headed by Honorable Godwin Amobi, you know, and I believe at this time what will be different will be we are going to see, you know, to the end of this. You know, it's going to be investigated, the report will come out, and Nigerians will see, you know, who the real enemies are.
So how has your PhD in international business informed your approach to legislative duties?
Well, when you have a doctorate in international business, that means you got into that stage of being a researcher, because almost every doctorate degree holder that I know is also a researcher, because when you are doing your thesis, you do all kinds of research, including what we call the peer-reviewed journals. Because as a doctorate degree holder, you don't just come up and start quoting sources that are not credible. So as a researcher, that actually prepared me for a job like this, because being a legislator, most of the things we do is research. When issues come up, we don't just pick on them, we go back and do our research and really see what is happening. So again, being a researcher, I've been able to really look critically into issues, you know, and being able to come up with solutions. And I just feel that Nigeria as a place, or even all over the world, if we have more, you know, of academics coming into politics, I think they will do very well, because they always are patient to get into issues, research them, come up with the appropriate statistics and proper solutions. Because you just cannot get issues and be sentimental about it. You have to, you know, really make sure that the perspective you are looking at those issues from, they are very credible and valid. So I'm sure that actually informed my decision, you know, of coming into, you know, the legislative arm. And outside of that, I've actually played politics, you know, in school. You know, while I was in college, in the university, I was also in the student union government, and now I'm in the mainstream politics. Even while I was in the United States doing my master's, I was also a student union leader. So that passion has always been there to deliver for the people. I was very young, you know, when I took up on, you know, services that don't really require monetary attachment you know, to carry out. That was why I joined the Boy Scouts as a young boy, because they said it was a voluntary organization. I love to do things voluntarily without necessarily paying me for it. And that was what actually developed my leadership, you know, growing up. Because as a Boy Scout, we were taught on how to deliver services and don't make your reward be monetary. You know, so your reward can always be just recognition, you know, in the society, and you having that satisfaction that you are doing the right thing. So I think I followed that line till now. And I just felt, well, at this stage, getting into mainstream politics would actually be a shortcut to carrying out my passion and delivering for my people. And that is what I'm doing now.
Okay. So what are the challenges you are facing, and how have you been able to tackle them?
Well, challenges, we look at them from different angle. You look at them from the angle of you dealing with your constituency and your constituents. Then you look at it from the angle of you being a federal lawmaker, 1 out of 360, you know, in the country. Well, let's start with the angle of dealing with your constituency and constituents. Well, as somebody that lived abroad, you know, for a long time, I think my orientation has changed over time. To understand that when you are in politics, you don't necessarily, depends on what tier of government you are. Of course, I'm in the legislative arm. My primary responsibility is to make law. Make laws, go on oversight, and represent your people. But the biggest challenge actually is a lot of our constituents actually forget that your primary responsibility is not to come carry out the functions of the executive, which is getting into things that have to do with infrastructural development, you know, because we don't have a budget. But we still try because of the constituency projects that we are entitled to. Of course, it's once a year thing, but it has an envelope, and there's nothing you can do beyond that envelope. So that's what we actually use when it comes to bringing about infrastructural development in the constituency, where you have to talk about maybe light, water, where some people talk about roads, but it's not everybody that's lucky enough to be able to get enough, you know, to do roads, because roads can actually take a lot of money. You know, like when you talk about water, maybe school supplies and all, those things make up our constituency project. But a lot of our constituents don't understand that. So a lot of them believe you are just like the governor that has a budget. And at the end of the day, when they are asking you questions, they actually ask you questions more on infrastructural development. It's a challenge. We try to sensitize them, to let them know that this is my primary function, you know, include making laws, oversight to make sure the executive is doing what it's supposed to do, and representing you, you know. But it's a very big challenge. And secondly, a lot of the constituents believe erroneously that you should be taking care of their needs, even personal needs, where you have to pay school fees for families, where you have to send money when there is a funeral going on, you have to pay people's house rents, and all these are things they throw at us on a daily basis. And we try to be understanding by just seeing what we can do, but it's tough, because imagine, like myself, I represent 2 very large local governments. How do you think I can satisfy all my constituents? It's not possible. And I try as much as possible to be there for them. But when you help one and you are not able to help another, it becomes another problem. So that is another challenge. So we try to find our balance where you are able to help some people, at some point are not being able to help some people at that same time, but just like try to get their understanding that, okay, if I can't help you today, maybe tomorrow we might be able to do that. Then outside of that, coming to the angle of you being one of the 360 members in the Green Chamber, where I am, currently, is another big challenge, because being a first timer, remember, you're going to be dealing with a lot of ranking members. You're going to be dealing with leadership. And it's a place where, you always negotiate. We negotiate right from the motions you want to move to the bills you want to sponsor, to the petitions you want to lay. Because whenever you are moving a motion, that motion, you might see it as something that will be good for Nigerians, but some of your colleagues might have issues with such motions because it might not be to their advantage or their own interest. And they begin to talk to you. And if you don't budge, then you people begin to knock heads, as if maybe you're going after them. But it's a very big challenge. And going to issues of oversight, we try to do oversight the way we think is proper and right. And at that point, the country we're in, and you begin to have issues with even colleagues and friends that feel that oversight you are going for, if you really want to carry it out the way it's supposed to be, then it will look as if you are winch hunting some of those MDAs. And that is not really the case, because some of us, we have a different orientation. The system I'm coming from, we don't see it as a winch hunt. I'm just doing my own job, right? But the other person will see it as a winch hunt. Even your colleagues that feel like, okay, your brother is the chairman or executive secretary or MD, as the case may be, in some MDAs of ministry. They feel like you are unduly going after those people. But that's not really the case, and we try to make them understand. So again, that is where we still try to strike a balance. Because here at the National Assembly, we are a family. We are a family. We always try to be there for each other. But again, when you truly want to do this job the right way, you're going to have to step on toes. And some of us don't mind stepping on toes, as long as that thing will be in the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians. So those are some of the challenges we face. And of course, if you are a first timer, there are certain things you may not have the privilege. I call it a privilege because it's not a right, for any member, but a privilege. Maybe, for example, being a chairman of a committee. It is not your right to be a chairman of any committee. It's just a privilege. So if you get it. So most ranking members are considered first when it comes to committee chairmanship, before, new members. But in the 10th Assembly, we kind of have it, different, because a lot of us that came, almost 70%, are new members. So getting chairmanship of committees, was not as difficult, as it used to be. But it can also be a challenge, So those are some of those things that we go through.
Okay, so considering the fact that you're representing your people, and you made mention of them not understanding the areas you're meant to actually, things you're meant to provide for them, and how do you strike a balance between what they should expect? How do you educate them on what to expect? Is there anything you do to really let them know that this is actually what they should be looking up for you to do for them? Because if not, they'll be looking at you as someone that is not really representing properly.
True. They just keep talking and keep doing. The truth is, if you are telling somebody, well, I don't have any money to give to you personally, then you should be doing things on ground that the person will see. that, okay, even your own constituency project, this is not your personal project. It's for the constituency. Like in my own case, during my campaign, I actually campaign with things like, okay, I'm not only going to be empowering individuals, I'm still going to empower the community. And what does that mean? Yes, when we have our constituency project, part of it can be empowerment programs, you know, for individuals, maybe women in my community, youth in my constituency, or farmers in my constituency. So whatever you have that you are giving to them is more of personal. You know, like somebody you are giving fertilizers, that's more of personal. You know, somebody you're giving a bike to, grinding machine, sewing machine, those are mostly personal. But the community part of it that I brought up was, look, yes, the individuals will enjoy things like that, but I still want to, in addition, I still want to be able to point at a community where I will cite something that everybody from that community and even outside, anything that brings you to that community, everyone will enjoy it. For example, the lights. Whether it's solar light, solar street light, everyone will enjoy it, irrespective of your political affiliation. Water, borehole water, clean water, everyone in the community will enjoy it. Road, everyone in the community will enjoy it. Schools, medical outreach. So all these are things, you know, that the community, wherever they are cited, everyone there will enjoy those things. So my kind of empowerment, you know, involves both the individuals and the community. So when you're telling these people, hey, look, my primary duty is to go make laws, but I have a constituency project, then you should be able to cite those things and let them see. Because if they see those things, of course, they know there is no way you can be doing this and still be able to do the other part that I mentioned before, you know, successfully. Like whoever comes to you, you have something to give to them, you know, in form of maybe assistance, monetary assistance. It doesn't work like that, you know. So if you are not able to do that, but the better start seeing things on ground that will benefit them in other ways.
You're the vice chairman on Committee on Poverty Alleviation.
True.
So what are your responsibilities and how far have you gone achieving these responsibilities?
Well, the ministry, we are a committee that oversees the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. Right now, with this, going by the statistics, with almost 133 million Nigerians in abject poverty, I think my committee is one of those foremost committees in the House right now, with a lot of responsibilities to see that Nigerians are out of poverty. And oversighting that ministry, unfortunately last year, we had some hiccups when the minister was suspended, Dr. Beta Edu. She was suspended, I think, sometime in January, and we didn't have a new minister till almost November, you know, of the year. So that year ran out with nothing really happening. As a matter of fact, the major agency that we oversight under the ministry, which is the INSIPA, the National Social Investment Program Agency, I think their account was frozen. So no program was carried out. And under that agency, we have a lot of programs, you know, whether it's conditional cash transfer, the Aloja funds, the home school feeding program, the entrepreneurship, so many programs. All this came to a halt because of the investigation, you know, by EFCC and all that. So that went on. But it's a very, very serious and important committee in the House. But I think since November that the two new ministers came, we have a substantive minister and a minister for state now. So we have been working together, you know, to see that this year we are able to catch up, you know, with a lot of the things we couldn't carry out last year. So we have passed their budget, and we actually taking part in every single thing they are doing. You know, with the ministers now working closely with the committee, we want to make sure so many empowerment programs are carried out this year. And I think this April, they are starting a program. It's more like a pilot program where they're going to be doing it in the 6 geopolitical zones, you know, by picking a location in each geopolitical zones and bringing in some Nigerians for some trainings, you know, before they empower them. So it's a pilot program. They want to see how far this can go. And they are looking into a lot of artisanship programs that will be coming up too. And as you are aware, we have about 42 warehouses all over the country, fully stocked, you know, for Nigerians. But this was actually done by the Buhari administration. So we've not been able to do anything, you know, because of some of those issues I raised before. But this year, you know, after going for oversight, to have an assessment, on the ground assessment, then we're going to come up with some resolutions to see how these things can quickly go out to Nigerians, because I think playing catch-up will mean we're actually going to double our efforts, you know, to see that everything we couldn't carry out last year, we'll carry them out. And you are aware, the conditional cash transfer program is not just a program that the Nigerian government set up. It's a program they are doing in partnership with the World Bank. So we had some issues with some of the participants not having their NIN. So that now is a #1 criterion, you know, for them to be paid. You know, so Empower program is also a part of those programs. So now, dealing with some of those international organizations like the World Bank, you want to make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And that's why a lot of things are taking a slow pace. But I know in a very short time, we're going to have a lot of these programs being rolled out, because the ministers are ready, the committee is ready, the agencies themselves, they are all ready. So I think all hands are on deck.
So Nigerians should be hopeful that something big is coming.
Very hopeful.
Okay. You're a traditional title holder, and you're also a legislator. How do you balance the function? How do you tackle the function of traditionalist and the function of a legislator? How do you handle the...
Well, I see a correlation in the aspect of the service to the people, right? Whether you are a title holder, yes, you are a title holder because your people give you that recognition to lead them. Yes, I'm a chief, and when I introduce myself, you usually will hear me say the proud Benin chief. Yes, I'm a very proud...
I was coming to ask you about that.
I'm a very proud Benin chief. I hold the title of Osazuwa of Benin Kingdom. And our revered monarch, the great Oba of Benin, Oba of the great Benin Kingdom, Ukwu Akpolokpolo, Oba Ewa II Ogidigan, is a king I'm proud of. He's a king I'm very proud to serve, because he has always meant well for the people. And before actually getting that title, I had a relationship with the palace already, because my dad was also a chief. And I was abroad, you know, when I was given the title. And the title actually came with its own responsibilities. And in a nutshell, I can tell you, when we say his own responsibilities, is the service to the people. Yeah, when they call you, you have the passion to always fight for your people. You know, so, and as you are aware, a title holder from the great Benin Kingdom is not gotten by the amount of wealth you have accumulated. It's just recognition of somebody that is credible, somebody that will not bring any kind of stain to the kingdom, somebody that has a very good track record. So having all those, you are actually adored by your people too. And because of the way you are being treated and handled, you want to be careful as well. And you always want to perform above their expectation or beyond their expectation. So I've always been there. I've had that energy because I have that passion. You know, anything that is I'm culturally inclined because of my upbringing. You know, my father was a chief. So we had respect for the institution. So when it got to my turn, I had to uphold that same respect, you know, and pick up that responsibility. Now, that is a correlation with you being a lawmaker. Being a lawmaker, a federal lawmaker at that, is to be there, you know, to serve Nigerians. I'm your messenger. You know, they sent me here. I just didn't walk to the 10th Assembly. I had to stand for election, and they had to choose. And they decided, well, I was the one they were going to choose. I was chosen, and I came here. Also a privilege. Now, I don't have any choice now to deliver for my people and for Nigerians. So again, if you look at both, they are both service delivery, right? But again, how do you strike that balance? Yes, I am still young. Luckily, my revered monarch is very understanding, knowing that I'm still a service for the people when it comes to discharging my duty, you know, as a federal lawmaker. He usually will excuse me, you know, in some of those responsibilities that I can carry out. But again, the ones I can carry out, yes, they will always call on me. And because I'm still very young, I can multitask. So I've been able to carry out those responsibilities very well. You know, so when you're able to multitask, you can do one here and do one there, and you still have the energy to move around. And part of my, you know, traditional responsibilities also include, you know, traveling. You know, when it comes to representing the kingdom within and outside the country, yes, I'm always called upon, you know, to embark on those kind of trips, especially things like going for artifact recovery, you know, bringing back the artifacts, you know, to go negotiate, you know, with those people involved. You know, I've always been in the forefront of that for the kingdom. And with my legislative duties, I've been able to juggle both together, and I've not been doing badly.
As a way of rounding up, what are your key priorities for the remainder of your term? Are there things that you really want to achieve for your people? You said you're multi-task, so are there things that you really they should expect? Like,
well, my first term, of course, I have 4 years, and of which we're almost running out of the 4 years. I've always concentrated on my primary responsibilities of lawmaking. How many petitions have I been able to lay on the floor? How many motions have I been able to move? I mean, how many bills, you know, have I sponsored? And yes, I can tell you, I'm very happy, you know, with myself so far, with what I've been able to do so far. When you talk about petitions, yes, I think I have more than 10 to 12 petitions I've laid on the floor. I have more than 20 motions under my belt, and I have close to about 6 bills I'm pushing. And most importantly, just recently, I've been able to push a bill for the creation of more local governments, because I represent 2 very large local governments, you know, 2 of the largest local governments in the country. And I feel this is the right time, you know, to make sure we are able to split those 2 local governments, at least get 3 out, you know, or out of it, because as you are aware, we've been disadvantaged, you know, by having 2 very large local governments. And these 2 local governments still receive the same allocation, like, just the same way other smaller local governments receive. So it's more like we've been shortchanging ourselves. So this time, I've been able to push it in. It has passed through the first reading. And I'm working seriously on that to see that at least before the next 2 years, we should be getting assent from the president, to get that done. And a lot of the other bills have been moving, like College of Agriculture, because my constituency is mostly rural, the two local governments. So I believe a comparative advantage will come into play here. So I just figured out, it will be proper to move, for the establishment of College of Agriculture, proximity to raw materials. Though that one has actually that one is before the public hearing now, and establishment of a general hospital. As large as those two local governments, we don't have a general hospital. You know what that means. When people fall ill, before they make it to the city, a lot of them don't make it anyway. So that has actually been something that has bothered me for a while, and I'm glad that I've been able to push it. And with so many other bills, that we've been able to move. There's a comparative medicine, that's alternative medicine. That's also a bill, that I passed second reading as well. Okay, going to second reading. So the College of Agriculture has passed through the second reading, public hearing as well. The medical general hospital, that one going to as passed second reading. So a lot of all these bills, I'm able to push them, at the speed, I would love, and things are moving very fast, and I pray I'm able to push them to getting assent by the president, before I finish my first term in office. But again, coming to the little I'm able to do with my constituency project, or constituency envelope, yes, I'm very satisfied because I'm pushing out a lot of projects, whether it's building of schools, medical outreach. As a matter of fact, I've been able to facilitate a 2-kilometer road, and that happened with, I think, within the first 6 months. Yeah, so we're doing a lot of stuff, being able to push a lot of solar lights to them because they're in the rural areas. It can really be dark, when you don't have those kind of light. But now, giving them those kind of light, make them feel, have that sense of belonging, so that, okay, we might not be in the big city, but I think we have some of those things they have in the big city. And we're sinking boreholes, around the whole constituency. So, yes, I'm very happy with that. And I'm still actually collaborating with the executive too, the ministers, and all this. So we're able to get projects, attract projects to, our federal constituencies by doing all this. Everything is diplomacy. So I've been able to cite some schools and health centers, by just networking, with the executive. So there are still more we wish we can do, but we are not relenting. We are still pushing. So, and that is where we are.
I must say a very big thank you to you for your time and for coming on the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And that is where we give it a wrap today on the program NAS Unplugged. Thank you for watching.